Hey everyone, it's Tawney. In today's video, I am going over some makeup, putting on some makeup that hasn't worked for me in the past. It's not a full face of things that haven't worked in the past, but they're things that aren't my favorite to use. So we're gonna try and see if we can make them work today. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and ring the notification bell down below somewhere so you get notified when I upload. Typically it's every 3 to 4 days. And now that I'm in my new apartment, it will be more frequent. So it will be those 3 to 4 days. So stay tuned for that. Christmas is coming in a week. It is 8 days left till Christmas. Today is Thursday and Christmas is next Friday. So that's 8 days. My math is right. I do know a little bit of something. I will list what I'm wearing down below just so you guys know what's on my face, what products I am reusing. And yeah, there's only a couple products that I'm not trying again, but for the majority of what I'm using, it is products that didn't work before. So let's see how this goes. I'm using what is this? Hard Candy Smoothing Primer Balm. Now I know this does work, so that's why I'm using it, because I want to try and make the foundation that's going to go on top of this work. So that's why I'm using a primer I'm familiar with, just so I know that the foundation has a good chance at working. So we had a giant snowstorm Wednesday. Yeah, Tuesday going into Wednesday, but technically it didn't start until 10 o'clock Wednesday morning. So I woke up at 7 and there was nothing, and I was expecting to everything be white outside. And my boss is like, "Are you working from home or are you going to try and come in today?" And I was like, "I don't really want to come in," because it said, the weather was going to start getting bad at 9 or 10. Because I checked to make sure before I made my decision. And I was like, I don't know if I want to try and go into work and then end up getting stuck there for some, with the weather and stuff, or having to leave early and deal with sick time and vacation time and stuff like that. Because I really didn't want to have to use that unless it was necessary. And while it would have been necessary because of, the weather, it's still I didn't really want to have to do that. So I was like, no, I'll work from home today. And I'm really glad I did, because I looked out my window a little while later and it was completely white outside. It was bad, and it was getting really, really bad. And I live right off the main road in town, so I could see how really bad the roads were, because your back roads are going to be kind of meh, but you don't always know about main roads. And I'm going in with the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover Full Coverage Protective Makeup with Sunscreen. It has SPF of 50. It is this foundation. I didn't like it before. Bought it in the shade 112 because that's my universal Maybelline shade. And I think the shade I had before was too light. So I'm going to try and make this work. It's one that everyone raves about and they think that it works really well. More so as a CC BB cream than a foundation, even though it claims to be a foundation. So we'll see how I feel about this. Even if it smooths out my skin, which even though it doesn't really claim to do it, but if it just neutralizes my skin color and gets rid of some redness and some discoloration, I'll be okay with that. I prefer full coverage foundations, so whenever I use a foundation that's not, it kind of gets my hopes up to of what it could be, even though that's not what it claims to be. So back to my snow story. So I look out and it's really bad. The main road isn't even plowed. And I'm it's bad, because I live right by the fire department, and the fire department basically runs our little tiny small town, which is fine because we, need the guidance and stuff. And it hadn't been touched. And I was kind of freaking out. Oh my gosh, this is really real. I was expecting nothing and not what we got. So I was kind of a little nervous because there was more to come. It was still snowing. It was snowing all day, and we got a good bit of, I would say a foot or more of snow. I'm only 5 feet tall, and it went up to the top of my boots, and that was about mid calf. So that's kind of a lot for especially considering I'm so short, that the fact that I kind of sunk into the snow a good bit when I went out today, Thursday, that's pretty rough. And I texted my boss this morning and I looked at my car, and I have a front wheel drive car. It's a Nissan Sentra, and it does not like snow or slush or even rain. So I knew that I like didn't stand a chance at getting in, and I didn't really want to have to make my mom drive me to work because I didn't know if she was working from home or going into work. So I was just like, well, I'll see if I can work from home because at this point I didn't have a snow shovel, which don't expect somebody like when you need a snow shovel, just go and buy it yourself. Don't tell your parents like, "Hey, I need a snow shovel. Be a great idea for Christmas." If Christmas isn't like that next day when you are going to need the snow shovel, which it was my own dumb fault. Like I don't know why I like thought that way because like they're willing to help, and like if they see that I need something, they're willing to like, and I could have always borrowed a snow shovel from like someone who had an extra one, but I didn't think that way. So I asked my boss this morning, like, can I work from home? I can't make it into work today. Like, my car is literally like stuck in its spot. So she's like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So I did a little bit of work this morning, and then I was like, I need to go out and get a snow shovel. So I was cleaning off my car with my broom, like a typical kitchen broom, and it snapped in half, but like pretty low half. So I was able to use it to kind of like just brush the snow off my car, which luckily I was able to do. So that kind of worked out. And then I moseyed my way on to get a snow shovel, paid $15 at Lowe's for a snow shovel, but I needed it. And then I came home. I was able to make it back in the driveway, which that was kind of like shocker because I honestly didn't, I barely made it out. So I didn't know if I'd make it back. I thought I was just going to have to park on the like back road, like the side street where I like pull into my driveway and then plow the driveway in order for me to get in. But luckily I was able to. And then I did a little bit of cleaning up the driveway until my back was like, hey, we're not feeling this anymore. Like, you know. So I really like the way that foundation looks. I'm kind of excited that I did give it another try because I love drugstore foundations. I love testing out new makeup and seeing what works. And I kind of hate being like, this sounds so stupid. I hate being out of the loop when it comes to makeup from the drugstore because like when people say they like something, especially this one, it kind of made me feel like, like just kind of crappy that it like didn't work for me. Now I'm going in with the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Concealer. I have the shade 210, which is nude beige. I used this in a previous video and I really liked it. So I'm just using it again just to kind of add some radiance to my face. So yeah, I'm really glad that like I'm liking this foundation so far. I think a deeper shade was what did it for me. I'm starting to realize that if I get too light of a shade, it makes me look too pale and I don't like the way that looks. And even though I can deepen it, it just doesn't like, I never seem to deepen it enough that it like works. So I think I'm going to start buying at least like a shade darker if I don't know the exact shade. Like I'm going to try and like darker than what I think I need because that's typically like where I'm at. What I could always, and this is something I like just now thought of doing, I could get a foundation in a shade I know works for me. So like in the Maybelline Superstay, shade 112 is like my shade. Like Maybelline seems to be 112 is like the shade for me. And then in Makeup Revolution, I think it's F2 or F4. I think it's F4, yeah. Because F2 is too light for me. Because I have one foundation that's in F2 and I don't like the way it looks on my skin. So I'm going to need to buy it in F4 at some point. Don't know when I'll get around to doing that. But anyway, I can get one of those and then compare like what looks closest to that. Even within the packaging and the bottle and things like that. Like if I can't see a tester or if I can't open the bottle or container that it's in. Or the box, which kind of sucks, but I get it because it's like whenever I go and look at makeup, if the seal's broken or the box looks open or touched, I don't get it and I like go to the one behind it, which I hate to do that because then it's like this one up front is never going to get bought out because people are doing that. My eyes are like starting to water and I don't know why. I apologize for that. I'm not trying to cry on camera. This is not one of those videos. So I have noticed, and I apologize if you see any little dandruff pieces, I have a dry spot like right here. I noticed it when I was leaving Lowe's today. I'm like covered in dandruff now. But I noticed when I was leaving Lowe's, and I recently switched shampoos. I'm using from the same brand. It's the Organics, OGX or something like that. And I know that the brand works for me. So that's like kind of why I'm okay with like switching to different types, but I had got one, thought it was the one I liked, turned out it wasn't, but I didn't want to waste my money because it was like $8 a bottle. So I used it and it was fine and it worked well, but now I'm using the one that I originally liked, so I'm hoping it like helps with my hair because I don't want to have to get like a different brand altogether, but it's kind of like worrying me. And then I have these bald spots that are coming in, but I don't put my hair up into a ponytail that often, so like I'm not quite sure. It's not like I'm pulling a JoJo Siwa like ripping my hair, so I don't know. Now we're going to go in with the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Powder in Warm. I have the shade W1. The lightest shade was Porcelain, but I decided to go a little bit deeper just so it wasn't so pale on my skin. I know Emily Noel really likes this powder, and I had bought it, but just didn't see it doing like anything miraculous with my skin. So I just decluttered it, and then I was like, maybe I should have kept that. Because like a lot of people talk about products and powders that I have used and just didn't think they were like as like they weren't as overwhelming as I was expecting. They were very, you know, blah. Like they worked, but they just weren't anything like fancy. And it's not that like makeup needs to be fancy. And I don't know if like, you know, you pick the one you like and stick with it kind of thing, because that's what my Milani one is. But I figure I would give this a second shot because I was at CVS buying up half the store. Spent the most money at CVS I've ever spent in my life, which honestly wasn't even that bad, but it was still a little bit like more than I wanted to pay. I didn't think I'd be paying that much, and I did. So, and I even had coupons, but it's fine because I love CVS. Like, it's my favorite store. So now I'm going to go with the LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil because it's a trusted brow product. And after filming a video yesterday where my brow was kind of like, they were a little rough, I want to have a good brow day. And I did tweeze and like shave around my brow to give it a little bit more shape. So I'm hoping that that kind of like helps my eyebrows, you know, function a little bit better today. I need to go and get them waxed, and I know I need to do that, but I just never made an appointment because the woman I go see is only available certain days of the week, and I remember on the days that she's not there. And since my hair doesn't need done, I'm not like pushing for my eyebrows to get done, but I'm pretty sure I could always be like, hey, we want to go ahead and touch up my hair, because I'm doing a balayage with my hair where you start out with like a deep color up top and go lighter, because I had been blonde at the bottom, which doesn't really look that blonde, but I wanted to let it, so like if we went into a second quarantine, my roots could come in as normal and it wouldn't look like, I wouldn't have this like line, because the first time we went into quarantine, I had highlights, blonde highlights all through my hair, and it was very noticeable that I hadn't had my hair done in like months, because I waited till like June-ish to go back and get my hair redone, because that was when she was open, and I think we were out of somewhat of a quarantine back in May. Like I went back to work in June, stores opened up in May. I didn't go until, oh, was it? I think I waited till August, because I remember going and I'm like, please don't ask about stupid. Like, I don't want to bring up the ex. I don't want to talk about that. I like just want to move on. I thought this had, okay. I guess it doesn't have a mirror. Okay. But, cause yeah, I remember going and it was just me, and I was like, please don't ask about him. Don't ask how he's doing. Like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, it was still very real. So I'm thinking it was August or so, and it's December 16th, 17th. I think it's the 17th today. Yeah, it's the 17th. When you work from home, you have no idea like what day of the week it is. And I can look at the date on my computer as many times as I want, and it still doesn't click. Still doesn't ever get through. Yeah, my eyebrows look decent today. I want to try the soap brows because I feel like that would look pretty decent with my brows, especially with how unruly they are, and the fact that like I need to, like with how they're kind of not really shaped in a certain way, I think that would help, because then they don't have to be. I saw a picture of this model that had eyebrows that like, they weren't very like, there was no precise, like there was eyebrow hair all over, and I thought that she pulled off the soap brows really nice, and I was like, I could do that with my eyebrows. So then I used the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara on top of that. Now I'm going in with the Milani Eyeshadow Primer. So I'm all ready for Christmas. I have bought a crap ton of makeup for myself because, you know, you need to treat yourself and all that. I have just about every present for my parents done. I just got like one of the last presents I needed. Now I'm just waiting on stuff to come in. And I had ordered a shirt. It was the one shirt my sister wanted. She was really pushing between my mom and I to get it. She had sent us links and like pictures of the shirt multiple times to try and like say, hey, this is the one I want. Like, don't forget, I really want this shirt. And it was off Etsy, which is great because it's, you know, shop small business and things like that. So I went on and got it probably like the first weekend of December, which I knew it would take like a week or two to come in depending on how fast shipping is and how much the person had to ship and like where it was coming through, which I think everything was coming postal service. And I hate the post office. So that kind of like annoyed me. But I was like, you know, I'm ordering it early enough. There's no reason this shouldn't come in on time. Everything will be fine. No, everything is not fine. I got an alert saying your shirt's been delivered. It's at the post office. Go pick it up. Well, this was on like a Saturday or Sunday. So I'm like not really expecting to get the product for a while. Like I was kind of thinking it would take a little bit. Like I would get over there like Monday or Tuesday or whatever. No big deal. Well, my sister picks up the mail and she's like, you don't have anything. And I was like, it says it was delivered to the post office. So we're not sure if it hasn't been, like processed at the post office or if they lost it or something. So I kind of need to go over and like cause a teeny bit of a scene and just be like, I have this product. It says it was delivered. I don't have it. It's not showing up that like I have something to pick up. Can you please check just to see if you've like misplaced it or something? Not to call them out, but just kind of like, hey, you know, let's get this sorted out. So I'm going to be using the Midas Cosmetics Smoky Glow palette. It is this gorgeous palette right here. Bought this to support Smoke, Miss Hannah, and I kind of like it, but I'm a little on the fence because the one time I used it, it was a little bit like patchy and I just wasn't sure how I felt about it. So that's why I'm using my Milani eyeshadow primer instead of a different one that I know works, or a different one that I'm testing out currently, because I want to make sure that it does work. So now I'm going into the shade Vote and just using that as my transition shade. But I'm also going to go in with Cold Brew because I just realized that it's in there, and I'm going to use that to kind of set my lid. And I'm using my trusty Morphe brush. So yeah, it like gave me another reason to hate the post office. I had some issues with when I lived at my previous apartment. I sent a rent check and I was told like 3 weeks later, hey, your check hasn't come in yet. And I'm like, no, I mailed that out. Like, I know it was like right at the end of the month, so it was gonna get to you a couple days late, but like no excuse. But it happened all around like voting time and things like that. And I think like with the voting stuff, everything just kind of got jumbled. But I did send a pretty hefty check, and I had to pay $10 to cancel the check, and I have no word if it got delivered or not, which I don't really care at this point because they got the second one and I'm out of that place, so like doesn't bother me and I don't really care that much. So I already had like these bad feelings towards the post office, and then with this it just kind of solidified all of that. Now I'm going with Cold Brew to kind of set the primer. And I'm just taking that on my lid. Okay, that's looking really nice. For like a very plain, like just, you know, not bland, but like your typical transition and over the lid shade. That's looking really nice. And my eyebrows are looking really good too today. I'm kind of impressed. Like, am I gonna have a good makeup day today? I hope so. Okay, I kind of want to do something with color, but then at the same time, I'm just kind of feeling like very bland. I really like the shade Dofa. I'm not really sure what that means. It's this nice burgundy shade, this glitter shimmer right there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to use that. I had originally used Nutty, which is a very like duochrome purple blue shade at one point, and it like just kind of went everywhere on my lid, which happens. I mean, if you saw the video that I did yesterday, which should go up before this one, it like just kind of, it just, yeah, so it just does that on my lids, which is kind of annoying, honestly, like if I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I'll do something with like pinkish. I think I'm gonna go with Amazing with 3 eyes. And I'm going to put that on my lower lash line. That's really pigmented. Like, look at that. Wow. And I, like, barely put any, like, pressure. And I think I'm gonna, like, blend the crap out of that. My eyes are starting to water a teeny bit. I hate that. It's, like, the worst. Like, I don't know why my eyes do that. And it's, like, 3:30 in the afternoon. So, like, I get it if it does it in the morning, but, like, why now? Why, this late in the day? When I've been rubbing my eyes and all that sort of thing. I cried a little bit in the car this morning, which is fine. I listened to that new song with Justin Bieber called, like, Lonely, I think it is, and it, like, really resonates with how I'm feeling right now. So I'm very emotional. Like, music has really hit hard this year, and I really want to do a video of, like, my top 5 songs that got me through the year, because I already have 2 and or 3 songs that have, like, I'm pretty sure I have 3, maybe 4 of my 5, like, that I can think of off the top of my head. But I want to pick songs that are, like, really, really good songs. Not just like, hey, this was a good song I listened to this year. I want it to be like, this is the song that, like, helped me through the year kind of a thing. And I have 2 that I know for sure are going to be on that list. And I'm not going to be able to play any of the songs just because of, like, copyright issues. And I don't want to get my video taken down whenever I'm just, like, a measly makeup artist, if you want to call it that. Let's see. What are we going to go into now? I kind of want to, like, deepen out the outer corner, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I really like that pink on the bottom. Like, that's looking really nice. Like, it just kind of, like, it's looking good. Okay. And that was amazing I did on the bottom. So, let's go in with rose. And we're just going to put that on the outer. Oh, okay, that's really neon. Okay, we're going to put that on the outer part of my eye, sticking pretty far below the crease area, not really going too far up into the crease, and we're just going to kind of blend the crap out of that just into the tail part of the part that went on the under. You can see what I'm doing here. It's just going to all blend that together, and try not to get my brush too wet with the tears that seem to be flying out of my eyes right now. Okay, and then with whatever I have left, I'm going up toward the crease just to kind of blend. That's really pink. Hannah was really like, hey, I want a pink palette. And they're like, sure, let's give you the brightest pinks we have in our collection. I mean, I would hate to try the flower palette that Midas has. It's Flower Power, I think. I hate to try that one and, like, pigment in that thing, because it's, like, half pastel, half, like, bright neons. Like, man, that would really pack a punch. Okay, sorry, I had to cover my eye a little bit because my eye is watering, and I was trying to move my brush in a different way so I wasn't picking up on some of that, like, my eye juices. That was really gross. I've been watching a lot of Jamie French on Facebook, which I know, like, isn't where she posts. I think she's a YouTuber here. I'm assuming she's a YouTuber. Jen Loves Reviews just recently did a video on her that I have to watch. I haven't watched it yet, but it looks really interesting. And I'm going to go in with the highlight of today, which is the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek and Flexitarian. And I'm going to use that as my eyebrow bone and my inner corner highlight. And I've been watching a lot of Jamie French's videos on Facebook, like in the watch section or something. And she's very interesting. I really love her videos where she reviews a movie while she's doing her makeup. I think that is so cool. I'd like to do something like that because I've, like, watched some movies too, like my guilty pleasure type movies, but I don't want to make it seem like I'm copying her. I just want to make it seem like I'm, like, taking inspiration. So I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. It's something really cool though, and I think it's, like, really interesting that she chose to do that. Like, definitely mad props to her for that. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go in with, okay, let's see. Oh, man. I think I'm going to go with group chat. I have hello on this finger and group chat on this finger. They look very similar, but group chat is a little bit more of, like, a glittery chunky shade, but like in a good way. So I'm going to put that on the inside of my lid. Wow, that is really nice. I am loving, this is a really nice pink. Like, this is a really cool shade. It's starting to lose a lot of the pink and just go into more of like that shimmer glitter, which I'm not really sure I like, but I think I'll be able to fix that. I hope. I think I'm just going to have like a crap ton of glitter on my eye and I'm just going to have to deal with it looking like that, which is fine, I guess. But like, it's kind of intense since I'm going to have dinner with my nan and mom. Like, I don't have any big plans and like showing up to dinner looking like Barbie on steroids. Like, I even got the ponytail thing going on. So maybe I'm like JoJo Siwa. I really like the makeup James Charles did on JoJo in their video. Like, I just saw the thumbnail. I didn't really see like what the makeup really looked like, but she looked really good. Like, her hair and everything. Okay, there's a little bit of fallout on my cheek, like right there, that I'm seeing, but nothing like horrible. So I'm really liking the way that looks, and it really applied nicely. So I think it just kind of depends maybe on the shades or how you apply it or things like that. I'm not really sure, but I am liking this. So I definitely think I'm not going to declutter this palette anytime soon. It's not one I'd want to declutter, but okay, that shimmer is not going anywhere. But it's fine because I'm going to get a shower tonight and like scrub at my face. I'm not going to scrub at it. I'm going to exfoliate. There's a difference. That is a really nice pink eye. If I could do a wing liner, whew, that would look nice. Okay, so that was a good pick. Now I'm going to go in with the Pat McGrath Labs Fetish Eyes Mascara. I previously used this in yesterday's video of just trying new makeup, and I really liked the way this looked. I thought it was a really nice mascara. It doesn't really give much of a curl, which I don't mind. I don't really need a curl. I just want my eyelashes to like look like spider legs, but not like clumpy. Just like really long and fancy. So I'm liking the way that looks again today. This is definitely like a new, gonna have to keep using it mascara for sure. That is really nice. I'm kind of bummed that I have to go back out in the snow because I hate the snow, but I didn't want to have to make my nan go out in the snow and like fall or something. So I was like, well, I'll come to you instead of you coming to me. So that way you don't have to go out in it and I'll save your legs. Okay, so now the bronzer I'm going to use today is the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer in Suntan. It's shade 3, and it looks like this. It's a very nice brown, not leaning too warm or too cool. I know a lot of people like this, and I liked it when I first got it, but I just found myself not really reaching for it. And bronzers are one of those things, like, I like what I like, but I'm willing to try others, like other types of, you know, formulas and shades and whatnot. It's just not one that I ever really reached for often. I remember when I first got it, I was dog sitting, and I think I got this and the James Charles and Morphe palette. So I was like using them nonstop because that's like what I had for the week. Because I only take like 1 or 2 things of like per, like 1 foundation or 2 concealers or things like that. So I don't like, I just take what I know will work. Especially since I like can come back home so easily, because he lives like 5 minutes away from where I work and I live like 20 minutes away from where I work. So I can still like in the evenings, once I've taken the dog out, just run home for a little bit. Because he's like, he just needs someone to sleep with him at night. The dog, not the guy I dog sit for. But so I just pack overnight bags and do that. I've done it once this year. I think I was supposed to do it right at the beginning of quarantine, but then quarantine happened, and the guy I was supposed to dog sit for, all of his appointments got canceled. He's a lawyer. So he was like, well, I don't need you to dog sit because I'm going to dog sit because I'm not working. You know, I have nothing, you know, no reason to not be here in the evening, which was fine. But I was missing the dog more than I was like bummed about the money or anything, which is kind of the best. Like, I'd prefer that because then it like means I really care about what I'm doing. Now I'm going to go with the Clinique Cheek Pop in Melon Pop. I've been using this for a while and I'm still on the fence about how I feel about it. I just feel like it's like not as great as everyone talks it up to be. And it's just kind of like, it's okay, but like not worth my 25 bucks. I don't know. Like I can find better ones that are like around the same price range or cheaper. So like why do you want to spend your money? And like it's not terrible, but it's definitely not my favorite blush by any means. But yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I did pick out a lip product. Okay, and it'll work. Good. I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if the lip product's even gonna work. Okay. So now for the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek in Flexitarian. I hate saying that because I can never say it right. I'm going to go in. It's really pretty, very nice and bright. I'm going to go with my finger just to see if I can like... Holy crap. Okay. Because every time I use my brush, I feel like it gives those like brush strokes and I don't like the way that looks. So I think I might actually put it on with my finger, then go back with the brush just to kind of like smooth it out. Because I feel like right now it's like pretty intense just for my finger, and it like has those finger marks and it's not very like, you know, it's a little bit too defined. I'm really liking this, the way I applied it today. Like, you know? Are you guys all ready for Christmas? Like I was saying earlier, I have all of my Christmas presents bought and pretty much wrapped, just waiting on the last couple from the post office from Etsy, and which I'm really excited to get and like finally wrap and everything. I love Christmas. I love giving gifts. I just love the whole giving season, like giving back. My mom and I adopted a child from a special needs foster care center type thing, and we bought for her, she was really into unicorns, so we bought a lot of unicorn stuff, which was kind of interesting because like I have not been a 4-year-old in 20 years. So, and like mom had no idea what to get because, you know, what we liked was way different. We were into Barney and the Wiggles when my sister and I were 4. So clearly, you know, things have changed. This girl was not into Barney or the Wiggles. She liked unicorns and princesses, which, you know, is typical, but still. I'm really liking the way all of this looks. I'm like kind of impressed. We'll have to see how the foundation wears. I'm only going to get like a 6-hour wear test, 6 or 7. I did a 6 to 7 hour wear test of the makeup yesterday. So I'm thinking I'm going to get about the same wear time today, just depending on when I get my shower. So it might be a little bit less than that because I do have to plan to go into work tomorrow. Since I can drive and the roads are well, I think I'm going to try and go in. Plus we're doing a Secret Santa at work and I really want to give the woman my gifts that I bought for her, because I've had Wednesday, Thursday, and now Friday that I'm like still, you know, luckily she'll be at work tomorrow. She's one of the few that will be there with us instead of one of the ones taking vacation time. So I'm excited to give her those gifts and like hopefully she likes them. I was a little bit stumped on what to do for like the big gift because I'd already spent a good bit of money on like the week's worth gifts. Like you do one gift per day and then like the big gift on Friday, which is kind of expensive of a Secret Santa, but I don't mind. And when I have the money, I'm like glad to do it, especially since somebody's going to do that for me. So yeah, I really like the way all of this looks. I like really like the dewiness without it being like too overly dewy. Although I think that has a lot to do with the highlighter, which is probably one of my new favorites. I know how to apply it right. I really like the eye look. Really love that glittery shade of that pink. I'm feeling like Barbie right now. And I use the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray just because I know that it works with... Okay, is there a hair? There's not a hair. It's all in my head. Okay. And now I'm going to go with the L'Oreal Colorish Plump and Shine in Coconut Plump. This is just a typical lipstick that plumps that I really like. So yeah, really liking the way this makeup looks. I hope it works the rest of the evening. Definitely interested in trying this foundation more just to see how I feel about it. This Dream Urban cover from Maybelline. I really like Maybelline and I really love their foundations thus far. I haven't tried the Fit Me Dewy. I think it's Dewy and Smooth or something. I haven't tried that one, but I know that people prefer the matte one better. So maybe I'll have to get it and just test it out. But yeah, I really like the way my makeup looks. Let me know if you guys like it as well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Ring that notification bell. Check out the previous video that I'll put somewhere up in the cards. Stay tuned for my next videos, and I'll see you then. Bye!